Hey everyone, welcome back to Static Street Cars and Customs. I'm Static and today we're going to do a service on the Civic. Alright guys, so now that we've got it cleaned up, everything's nice on the outside, well as nice as it can be apart from the paint peel, which we went over in the last episode. Now that we've got all of that sorted, it's time to give the car a service. I've got everything I'm going to use up here. I've gone from all the way from air filter right through to the back through to fuel filter, and everything in between, spark plugs, leads, oil filters, all that sort of gear. So we're going to give it a good once over and the car should live to fight another day. Alright, so as you can see, the guys at Repco have hooked me up with new fuel filter, air filter, Penrite oil. I use nothing but Penrite. Personal preference, use whatever you like. Penrite is my personal preference. I've used it since the first car I've owned, right the way through to all the way through. Every single car I've owned has always run on Penrite, and I'm pretty happy with the products. We've got plugs, we've got leads, and we also have the oil filter. So without too much dribbling, we'll just get into it. So the first thing I like to do is to roll the back wheels up onto some car ramps. That makes it nice and easy to get under the back of the car. What I'll also do is I'll jack up the front of the car and put some jack stands under it so the car's up nice and high. I can get underneath pretty easily. I do have a creeper, but at the moment I've got a VW motor sitting on it, so it's no use to me at all right now. Standards par for the course when you're me. So now that the car is up on ramps on the rear, we're going to get the jack in the front. We'll lift the front up and then put some stands under it to make it nice and safe to get under and access everything underneath the car nice and safely. One thing to note is to just leave it out of gear, leave it in neutral and put the handbrake down. Ultimately you want to be on a level surface. My drive is not extremely level. What that will do is it'll stop your wheel from trying to turn on the car ramp and try and back itself off and put extra load against the back of it even when we are on a bit of an angle. So one thing that is worth noting, this is the jack. In the last video I told you that sent my wife ass over. There's a reason for that. There's a locating pin here, and what that's meant to do is actually go through with an end that stops this bar from coming out. That's worn down. This jack is quite old. It's seen better days. I can demonstrate really easily how easy that is to pull out, and you can see the groove that pin is meant to sit in. If we have a look down in there, we may, I don't know if you can see that or not, but we may or may not see that pin that's meant to go in. It doesn't do its job real well. So the best way that I've found to actually move the jack around is by purely twisting and holding pressure on it, and you can pull it around as you see fit. If you don't do that, you just pull the handle out. Alright, so I've never actually jacked up a Civic before. This is the first time, so it might have looked like a bit of a struggle there. But I found up the front here, it's pretty much the only spot you've got to jack off. There's nothing, jack off. There's nothing, no other cross member sort of under the engine or anything like that, where we normally have on our rear wheel drive cars. No engine cross member or anything like that. As you can see, we've only really got some rails that sort of, the subframe I guess, it sort of heads down the back. Can't really jack off that because it's very far, like it's quite inboard of the car itself. And there's no other cross members per se apart from ones that go up over the exhaust. The exhaust obviously runs right down the middle. Yeah, so all I had in the front here was this spot here, which is a little bit off center. So the car kind of jacked up a little bit skew-if, which is okay because I was able to even it out with the jack stands. So they're fine, but now it gives me plenty enough room to get in under. This cover here, if I can get out far enough to actually show you without the glare, So this cover here, which goes sort of right the way across, is going to need to come out to get out of the way. It looks like it's a series of 10 mils and possibly Phillips head screws, plastic Phillips head screws. So I'll get that out of the way, and then we can actually see what we're looking at. It looks quite filthy underneath actually. It looks like it's been a little while since someone's cleaned up under here. One thing I realised I didn't get was gearbox oil, but I will do that in the future, just not today unfortunately. So I'll start to get this plastic out of the way, and we shall see what we're dealing with. Alright guys, so you might have seen me struggle there for a little bit. I just went with the assumption that it was a 14 mil bolt. I was incorrect. It was a 17 mil, but I went 14 to 16 to 17. So I couldn't have struggled any harder if I tried. I put my stands right in my way for my bucket, so I had to kind of get creative and let it lean a little. I did initially miss, but that's alright, a little bit of degreaser and I can clean the driveway up, not a problem. So at the moment I'm just letting it drain. You'll have also seen that I undid the oil cap on the motor, just to let the air sort of pull in, let it drain out of the hole at the bottom here a lot easier. So I'm going to let that go for a while before I pull the oil filter out. Hopefully I'll leave that until it stops dripping altogether. Then I'll pull the oil filter. Hopefully it's as empty as possible. It is pretty much, in case you guys are wondering, obviously that is the back of the motor there. That's a drive shaft. That is the oil filter up there. So if you're coming from, I guess, the passenger side rear of the front tyre, you should be able to reach towards that fairly easily, I believe. I think I've done myself no favours putting the stand here, so a future note to self, maybe set it against the that chassis rail or something like that, that subframe rail, just to give myself plenty of room, or even actually get something to sit under the front wheels, so I can have all the room underneath that I need. So I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to, while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to head up the back and see what I can find with the fuel filter. Whoop, I forgot to mention, I didn't need to take this off at all, as you will have seen. I had a bit of a look around, didn't need to take it off at all. I expected that the filter would have been up under here. Up under? Above this. It's not, it's on the back side of the engine, so it's pretty good. It's nice and hidden back there. It still looks like it's fairly easy to get to, which is good. Time will tell how easy it is to get out. Guys, I've not been under the back here at all yet, so you guys get to struggle with me and see the sad effort that is me trying to get underneath this thing. I don't know what you're looking at right now, but I'm assuming our fuel filter will be here somewhere. I might be very wrong. It may be up in the engine bay. Just looking at the kind of filter it is, it's got some not barred fittings, but some screwed fittings. So we'll have a look and see how we go. I just wouldn't mind having a look under here anyway. If I am wrong and it's not here, it's fine. Just having a look back here to see how it all looks is not a bad idea, because I've not seen it at all. I can't seem to locate any actual fuel filter at the moment. Oh, sorry about that, you just hit the exhaust. Yep. So there may be, there's a cover, hang on, I'll bring you around with me and hopefully you can see what I'm looking at. So on the passenger side again, there's a cover near that's the rear wheel there. If you sort of follow that trailing arm back, there's a cover right here. It may be hiding there. Let's see if we can see. I don't know, I can't see anything in there. I don't know about you, but we'll have a look, see if it's in there and go from there. Hopefully I don't have to resort to Google or a YouTube video to see where the fuel filter's at. Maybe if I can you guys see in there? Is it in there? You guys don't? I don't know. I somehow turned the camera around. Oops. It might be in there, I don't know. It's worth noting that I'm sure if any of you guys know about Civics at all, you're yelling at me now and telling me exactly where the fuel filter's at. I will learn that way too late, but thank you. I do appreciate it. Yeah, right, okay. Scream away guys, I found the fuel filter. It's not hard to find at all. I didn't even have to get dirty or get under the car to find it. That's it right there. That's a brake booster. That's a fuel filter. That was simple. Thanks for screaming at me, you guys. I appreciate it. I found it. It's all good. Cheers. So it's always worth double checking that you've actually got everything that you need in the box. So fuel filter to start with. It looks to be the right item. And you've also got a bag of little crush washers. So I don't know what the really small one in there is for. I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out. So I'm assuming the other two are top and bottom. I think that's a fair assumption. The other one, I'm not sure. I don't see another hole here, but it could just be a small fitting or something like that. The bottom one actually looks like it's not a compression fitting, but almost like a flared fitting. If you can see in there really well. So we'll give that a go. Okay guys, so now that I can get both of them side by side, they are the exact same item, which is really cool. So you'll notice the bottom is actually like a compression fitting, like a flared fitting. So that's not a problem. The crush washer is not for that. The crush washer is actually for the banjo bolt, which goes either side of, if I can get up to it, this banjo fitting that you can see here. Yeah, so thankfully they go either side of the banjo bolt. What you'll see also is on this side of the banjo bolt there is another small bolt with a washer, so you can actually let the pressure out before you undo everything, which is a really cool little feature, and it beats definitely trying to crack the thread and then spraying fuel on yourself instantly. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So now that I've located how all of these washers fit in, I'll get that back in place. One thing I should tell you is that you kind of need to undo this first, get it undone as far as you can, and then you sort of loosen off the filter from its bracket. The bracket holds it in nice and tight. Undo it from its bracket, and as you pull it out, it actually alleviates the pressure on this, because this is at a bit of an angle and makes it difficult to tighten or loosen. So once you loosen this off, the bracket off, and sort of let it sort of move freely a bit, that's much easier to undo. Alright, so with that all done, it's in there nice and easily. We'll say easily. We'll say it went easily. Sizes you should note, that is 12mm, that is 17mm. The bottom is 14mm. It's a 14mm spanner for the compression fitting. What else? 10mm bolt, 10mm for the bolt in behind that actually undoes the bracket to hold the fuel pump in nice and tight, the fuel filter in nice and tight. A couple of things to note as well, if you guys are doing it, there's a little tab here that locates into that slot. I'll try and get you right in close there. So that little tab, you might have seen me struggle with that a bit. It was actually bent down. It was really close to the body of the fuel filter, so I had to bend that back up with a screwdriver just so it'd sit in spot and keep it nice and tight in there. Also, the clamp that runs around it, which is really hard to sort of show you, but that's it right there. The clamp that runs around it actually is this tab through this bracket. Make sure that's actually all the way through. I struggled a little bit to start with because it wasn't all the way in, and it was pushing off the that bolt on the other side. It was pushing it out of alignment. I thought it was in the hole, which it was, but it was out of alignment, so it wasn't tightening up. So make sure that's in there nice and snug, and it'll all bolt up nice and easy. So that's one job done, fairly easy I think. So what we'll do before I start the car, I'll let the fuel pump run a little bit to build up pressure and hopefully get rid of the air in the injector rail, and that should all be good. So when I did pull this one out, I noticed that there's plugs in the box, so I just assumed that I'd be able to plug this one up. So I thought that I could just sort of cover that with my finger and then put a plug on it as soon as I got it out of the way to not drip oil, not drip fuel everywhere. That didn't work. Those plugs don't fit at all, so that didn't do a thing. Just things to note if you guys are doing the same sort of job, you haven't done it yourself. If you want to give it a go yourself, it is pretty simple. So yeah, with that done, I might as well get plugs and leads done while I'm here, and then I'll move on to the filter and the oil change. So I've just pulled the first lead out. I don't know how well you can see down there. I really should get some kind of light so I can show you guys. But it is actually very, very clean down there, which I'm really impressed with. There's no, doesn't seem to be any sort of muck or grime or any kind of like oil or water or anything like that. So it shows that our leads still had really good seals. And we're doing their job very, very well. So I'm pretty happy with that. We'll see how the rest look, but if they look any worse than that, I'll show you. Otherwise, we'll just continue on. That means if this is the only one you're looking at, it means this is the worst one that you can see. Alright guys, all done. All done. I don't know how well the time lapse showed you. You might have noticed this one was very hard to get out. I've laid them out in order that they came out in. This one, the thread on it has got a lot of gunk and all that sort of gear in it, so it came out, it was difficult to get out, but the other one went in nice and easy and stayed in nice and snug, which is really good. You will notice that they're all fairly toast. They've definitely seen their days. This one looks to be the worst. If you see all the burning on the end of it, it definitely looks like it's the worst. So it might have been the one that was really giving us the troubles when we were having the miss. So hopefully that should all be sorted now. This lead, for whatever reason, down the bottom end, I'll grab the other one and show you. Within the tube down the bottom end, where you can maybe see the clip that holds onto the plug. For whatever reason, these ones don't line up great. So it did take like a little bit of a twist and a push to get it on. You might have seen that, yeah, this one here took a little bit more pushing than most. So that's a bit of an issue. I'm not really sure what the go is. They're just maybe not as good a quality as a lot of the OEM leads. So hopefully they do the job well. For a $200 set of leads, you think they'd fit a little better than they do. But that's that all done. We've got our fuel filter done. We've got our leads and plugs. Our oil is currently draining, so we've got our air filter to do next. Alright, so that was nice and simple. Got 2 clips. It slots out of here at the back, that little rubber seal right there. You can see that lifting away, it just comes out of there. And you've got 2 little catches there that you can see there, and down there, same thing, 2 little catches there. So it just slots in that way, push down and clip these in. Nice and simple. This is the old filter. It's kind of hard to tell. There wasn't too much rubbish or debris in the bottom of the airbox. You can never really tell how filtered they are unless you want to cut them apart. I'm not going to bother with that. It's got a new filter in it. I don't really need to. So, and for the price it's worth, I think it's less than 20 bucks. Why not? Alright guys, just to skip ahead a bit, I've put the bolt back in. We're all now drained out. I have like a bucket that I drain my oil into. Just makes things nice and easy. I can put a lid on it. The lid seals nice and tight. So once it's full, I can then dispose of it in a responsible manner instead of sort of just filling up another oil thing and throwing it in the garbage. We can actually dispose of it in the correct manner. There is our current oil filter and what looks to be the carcass of a spider, one of many that are under here. As you can see, spider webs sort of hanging out everywhere. So we're going to pop that out next. I'll try and get the camera in such a way that we can actually watch that happen. Well, I don't know how I'm going to go, but yeah, I've tried by hand. Obviously it's not going to work by hand. It's been on there for quite a while. I will need to get a tool, so I'll go and get that. We'll get this out. I've got to sort of hurry this up a bit now. I don't know if the video itself is getting on, but the day is, it's quite late in the afternoon now. It's about probably almost like 7:30, 8 o'clock, so it's going to start getting very dark soon. As you can see, I've got my torch going already, which I probably blinded you with earlier trying to look into the bucket here. So yeah, we'll get stuck into this, we'll get it happening and fill it back up. In the true spirit of static, I don't have the correct tool. Well, I do, but I don't know where it is. So I'm using the correct proportioned set of multi-grips so that I can get this off. I don't know how well I'm capturing this right now because you guys are in a very precarious position. I can't hold the camera up while I'm doing this.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
As you can see, the camera's very murky. I may or may not have just dropped my camera in that bucket of oil I showed you. Yeah, so I'm just going to set the camera away from the car, looking at the car, give you guys a bit of a time lapse of me getting this filter done so I can just get it done and get it filled with oil, get it started again, park it back in its spot, ready for whatever I'm doing next. So we're almost done, guys. I can't believe my camera still works. It was literally in that grottiest bucket of oil. This is 2 oil changes and possibly diff as well. It's gross. It is gross, and I had to dig my hand deep in there. Let's have a look. That is what my camera just dropped into. Gross. Alright guys, so that's it up there. We're all done, thank Christ. That took a fair effort. Again, I've done the bolt up, done the sump bolt up. Oil filter's changed, so we're good to put oil in it now, and job is done. Again, I haven't done the gearbox oil on this change. I will do in the future. I've got to do the clutch anyway, which is another thing that we'll have to get sorted. Hopefully it'll pass rego without it. It's a little bit slippy. It does grip, but it kind of slips a little just initially. But once it's bitten, it's good. So hopefully she'll pass rego and life will be good. Alright guys, so my plan was to actually catch up the day after all the filming happened for the service. Unfortunately, so the very next morning, after what you've previously seen in this video, I tested positive for COVID. It was not a fun time. That was a little over a week ago now, probably about 8 or 9 days, I want to say. It's been a pretty long road. It's been pretty rough, to be honest. It was not great. It wasn't a good time, I can tell you now. So unfortunately I didn't really get to finish off the video. We'll be catching up today on where I was at. I got up to putting oil in the car. It was dark, it got dark, and I couldn't really see what was going on. So I put a lesser amount of oil. Everything I've read as far as putting oil into a Civic, a D16Y engine, we're looking somewhere around the 3.5 litre mark with the oil filter, if you do the oil filter as well. So I put just a little less than 3.5 litres, and I was going to, the very next morning, I was going to check the dipstick, top it all up, and finish the video. That was the plan. That was the plan. Unfortunately that didn't happen, so we're looking at like 9 days later now. This is why a video hasn't been out in the last week. So we're looking at 9 days later now. I'm feeling a lot better. Still a little bit stuffy in the head, like someone's sort of just grabbing my head and squishing it. What we'll do now is we'll get the oil topped up, we'll get it all finished off. That's the service done. It wasn't going to be anything super exciting. Obviously, I'm pretty sure for the most part anybody that is watching these videos knows how to service a car. This is just little things that I wanted to get done before I take the car in for a blue slip and finally get the thing registered. I've had it for, I don't even know how long now. I've had it for probably 4 weeks now, and I've not, for the last almost 2 weeks, I've not been able to even look at it, essentially. So I can't wait to get that done. So we'll finish this video up, guys. I do apologise for the weird break in the video and the way everything went down. It definitely wasn't my plan. And yeah, hopefully moving on from here we can get things going in a much better fashion and a little more consistent, which is my plan, to get things done more consistently. Alright guys, some super exciting stuff at the end there, as you can see. I don't know how well you could see. I did try and make it very obvious. The oil was above the second hole on the dipstick, so all was good. I didn't need to top it up, I didn't need to do anything. That's the service. Long and the short of it, that's the service on a car. Like I said, I haven't done the gearbox fluid. I do want to do that when I pull the gearbox out to do the clutch. It just makes it simpler. So that's pretty much it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. Sorry it got weird. Sorry about that. I've had a pretty rough couple of weeks. Alright, so a bit of story time as well, guys. I'm going to name the car. It's something I do. I'm weird like that. I name all my cars. So I'm going to name this car as well. It's not your run-of-the-mill name for a car. I'm going to name this one Henry. There's a good reason for that, and Henry, if you're watching, you know why. Henry is the young fella, the young bloke of the guy I bought the car off. He was super excited and was looking everywhere he could to try and find my YouTube channel when he found out that a guy doing YouTube videos was coming to buy the car. So him and his mate were hanging around, or hovering around. I don't know if they were trying to get into a video or not. So in light of all of that, Henry, the car is named after you, brother. So enjoy, and I look forward to getting more videos out to you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't done it already, guys, please subscribe. That's it for another video. Thank you so much for hanging around. I do appreciate it. Sorry again, it was such an odd video, but next one, I'll do better on the next one. Thanks guys, bye.